Yeah, hello. Welcome to Usu and Awuku, all things Ghana. Awuku is not here at the moment, so I'll just leave a very quick comment. Um, we're still celebrating from the game. We still celebrate because of the game between Ghana and Switzerland. I thought it was an impressive performance. It was really surprising. I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't think we stood a chance against Switzerland. They do have some decent players, maybe not out of the ordinary, but decent. And I thought tactically we're much better this time around. Our passing was better, our movements were better. We took our chance as well, albeit very quickly. I thought we could have scored more. It was unfortunate that Seydu was it the guy who basically who replaced Thomas? No, he replaced Tariq Lamptey. He had a few clear cut chances. I think he needed to score that. If he was going to make a case as to why he had to start ahead of Lamptey, he needed to do that. And it's unfortunate that he didn't score. But look, I don't want to slag him off too much. I think he did very well. Ghana, we start our game against Portugal. Portugal is a formidable team. Let's not make any mistake about it. They will be much tougher to beat compared to Switzerland. But this is football, and there's always surprises. So there is the possibility that we can pull this off. Um, the only time Ghana failed to go past the second round was in 2014. And we know there was a bit of a player mutiny involved, and that's probably accounts more for that problem. Now, the FA is a bit different now, the government's a bit different. Management team is also slightly different, not mostly different, because there's Otto Addo, there's Josh Boateng, a bit more of a European touch, but that works. I mean, they are Ghanaians born and raised up. No, I think Josh Boateng was born in Ghana, actually. Um, Otto Addo born in Europe. Um, I think it's a perfect balance if you think about it, right? Because many of these players do play in Europe. A few of them were born in Europe and are Ghanaians. So Otto Addo can relate to these players. He can probably communicate better and get them to understand things better. So we do not have the Boateng incident that we had the last time we went to the World Cup in 2014, which was frankly a disgrace. It really was a disgrace. But let's focus on this game against Switzerland. There's no point me hashing up their lineups and all that stuff. It's really not necessary. But this was a full strength Switzerland team, which is more of the reason why this is such a big accomplishment for Ghana. They've done very well in this game. Um, Otto Addo's tactics definitely worked. And yeah, at the moment, I think he has a bit of a headache right now. Who does he start? I was quite impressed to see Barnier start because usually with a lot of World Cup teams, the last game, which would be a game of this nature, is the game where you actually try the starting 11 that you want to play in the what in the World Cup opening game. That's usually when it happens. And I was convinced when I saw it. I mean, it looks as if Dennis Odo is going to lose his place to Tariq Lamptey, unless something different happens. Um, that's more likely to be the scenario because Tariq is great going forward, and he's a fairly decent defender. Um, Baba Lamptey will be playing for sure. Baba Rahman will be playing for sure. And natural left back, great cross off the ball, it's fantastic. And I think the defense picks itself. You will have Salisu and you will have Amarte. So those two are definitely going. Basically, you have a back four that's settled, and you have a Thomas Partey basically being the sweeper role. I'm not sure whether he'll be asked to go forward or push forward, but I am sure Otto Addo will work something out for him. But I think at the moment, Otto Addo has a bit of a headache, right? Does he stick with Andrea Yu? Does he bring in Kofi Chere, who has played very well? Um, what happens when what's the name? Kudus comes in. When Kudus comes in, does Jordan Ayew go on the bench? Does Inaki go on the bench? I would reckon Inaki will start. Um, it is a bit of a headache for Otto Addo at the moment. It's a good headache to have. You're better off having a lot of options as a manager rather than having very little options due to injury. Very little options is exactly where you do not want to be. I mean, you don't want to be in a situation where you're not sure about your lineup yet, but then you know there are a lot of options. This World Cup is a World Cup where we have 5 changes per game. So it's certainly great for a manager. The manager can always make changes and affect the game, probably like he did today. I thought Kamaldeen Sulemana was incredible when he came on. Um, Fantastic runs. Semenyo was really strong as well. I don't think he was basically up to standard. I mean, not up to standard per se, but I always assume that if a player is not playing in the Premiership or something, then maybe it's not a smart idea to play him in the World Cup. You want players who always consistently play at a higher level. But who am I to say? I mean, what happened in 1998? Njan Kapia didn't even have a team, but then went to the World Cup and scored a fantastic goal against Austria. So with the World Cup, sometimes form can go off the window, and some players can surprise us. I thought Semenyo did great. Um, Honestly speaking, I thought everybody played really well, and it is refreshing to know that we still have a Partey to come in, and we still have Kudus to come in. I mean, Kudus is the player that we expect to light up this tournament. So this is going to be a good kind of headache for Otto Addo. And yeah, I'm very excited to watch the first game against Portugal. It's clearly not going to be an easy game, but well, if we've managed to beat Switzerland, and we did beat them convincingly, although we had a bit of a shaky first half, I think we can pull it off. We can pull a draw off, or let's not sound part negative. Let's just go for a win. I think it is doable. We certainly can. Um, Another thing too that really excited me was the fact that we were defending better. Right, we didn't concede any goals. Albeit Switzerland's attack is not the most potent, um, but still, I mean, we didn't concede a goal against Nicaragua, and we didn't concede a goal against this team. That's always good for defense. Defenses, if you don't concede a lot of goals, they become a bit more confident. Their movements are better. Their positioning becomes better. Because I mean, when you start conceding goals, that's when you start doubting yourself. You start doubting your movements. That split second that you need to make a certain decision. Do I go for this header or do I not go for a header? I mean, do I put my foot in for a tackle or do I not put my foot in for a tackle? These decisions have to be made in split seconds, right? And if you doubt yourself, that's when you doubt yourself, or when players lose confidence, they tend to make a lot of mistakes. So if you don't concede a lot of goals, it is really good for your confidence. It is really good for every team to have that. Teams that keep clean sheets always win games. I think there's that old adage. People even say it in basketball, defenses win games. That's really true. The fact that we didn't concede in the first half, played really well in the second half, recovered very well in the second half, always gave us a chance. That's the thing. If you're not conceding goals, you always have a chance of scoring. I would like to say Salisu coming back is really good for the national team, really strong, unbelievable area presence. I think he has the potential to be the captain of the Black Stars at some point in the future when Andre or Thomas Partey are not playing the national team anymore, or maybe he might not, but he's certainly a leader. And he took his goal well, kind of missed the header at the beginning, but scored. That's the most important one. Inaki, decent. Jordan, decent. Could be better. Daniel Afriye Barnier seemed a bit overwhelmed. Tried a few tricks, worked out well. Sometimes didn't. But then you want players being in a position where they want to try things, right? The last thing you want is players being conservative, not doing anything, and being passive. So I think it's certainly a good outing for him. He's a young player, and that's fantastic. Maybe he'll get around, maybe not. Like I said, it is 5 changes, so there's always the possibility that you can come in. There's always a possibility that a player might get injured. God forbid, hopefully that doesn't happen. But in case that happens, then as they say, every player should be ready to play. I think there's a very interesting story about Abedi Pele when he was in academic house when he got called into the national team back in 1982. And apparently he was enjoying the salad at the canteen when Adolf Amma told him, "Oh, why are you eating so much? You do realize there's a game tomorrow." And then Abedi responds, "Nah, I'm 17. I'm not going to play. I know. So I'm just enjoying it." And then Adolf Amma, who was the captain of the Ghana Black Stars then, said, no, 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 you can't think like that. Something could happen. A player could get injured. And then you have to come in. And if you've eaten so much and you're not fit, what happens? That's not good. Right. And then lo and behold, the next day, I think the next 2 days or so, the next match that Ghana played, Abedi was called upon to play. That's one thing that people don't really realize. Abedi has actually won the African Nations Cup before, albeit he was 17 years old. But that's also beside the point. Yeah, I do go in a bit of meanders, which is why I kind of prefer talking to people rather than talking into a camera. But okay, great performance by Ghana. Absolutely excited. Looking forward to the next game, which is against Portugal in the World Cup. And hopefully we get a result. So, up with Ghana.